let's look to the Preface dialogue. In the Preface dialogue, we're going to go back and touch on a point that we made earlier, because this is something that we can't emphasize enough. I made the point earlier with the Gloria, we are actually singing with the angels. The Preface dialogue is leading us into this holy, 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 which we're going to get to in a moment. But the preface of the Mass always ends, and I meant to bring my missal and I forgot, but you'll recognize these words. It's always to the effect of, and so we join with the angels and the saints in their triumphant hymn of praise. There are several prefaces, and the celebrant can choose, among many options, depending on what season of the year it is and so on. But they always end with, and now we join with the angels and the saints in their song of praise. Again, it is a reminder that we're singing with them. Not just singing a song they wrote, but actually singing with them. And when we get to the holy, 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 that's going to be very important. But this preface dialogue, you're going to notice something very different here too. The priest says, "The Lord be with you," but of course we reply, "and with your spirit." He says, "Lift up your hearts," and we reply, "As we have been, we lift them up to the Lord. Let us give thanks to the Lord our God. It is right and just." Now, our current translation, we have been saying, it is right to give him thanks and praise. Just was removed, although that's what the actual text is. Iso removed just and just added to give him thanks and praise. It is essentially being repetitious, because let us give thanks to the Lord our God. Well, it is right to give him thanks and praise. Well, no argument there, right? It is right to give God thanks and praise. However, it's not just right, it's also just. And we need to say that and to remind ourselves of it. And why is it just to give God thanks and praise, to worship him? It's simply for this reason. Justice occurs when everybody has what rightfully belongs to them, what is owed to them. Every human being is owed certain things: food, shelter, clothing, the basic necessities of life, to be treated with respect and dignity. And when any of these are lacking, we don't have justice, right? Injustice is when people don't have what rightfully is owed to them. What is rightfully owed to God? Our worship. Our thanks and praise. We owe it to him. What we've been saying is it's right to do this, and it is. We have not been saying it is just. And think about the implications of that. It is just means it's an obligation. We owe it to God. We can get the idea that coming to worship in Mass is a right thing to do, but it's not an obligatory thing to do. This is not just a nice place to come on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday morning. We are obligated to be here. We are obligated to worship God. It is justice. And on that point, we all want justice in the world. But if it doesn't start with giving God what is his due, there's very little chance of justice happening anywhere else. This response, you may recognize if you're familiar with the Tridentine rite. This goes beyond the Novus Ordo. This has been in the Mass for several centuries, and it has been part of our Novus Ordo Mass to proclaim it is right and just to worship God. And we're going to start saying it in an English-speaking world for the first time. Can you see how critical that is to acknowledge that?